Alright guys, very exciting news before we start today's episode. We have got a new live show on sale now in Glasgow at the Pavilion Theatre.
Big room.
Big room.
I've seen the greats there. I've seen Aladdin panto.
Yeah.
I've seen another panto. It's been great. And now
Peter Powers, he's always there at that
Yeah,
place.
we're doing an early show for the kiddies and a late show for the perverts. That's like what he does. We're following the Powers model.
But guys, listen, a big deal for us. It's on Sunday the 31st of March, which is Easter Sunday, which will mean it will be a year to the day since our last live show
at the Glee
in Glasgow, which was at the Glee, basically across the road
a
for
lot
it.
of fun, yeah.
So we went from a 300-seater to a bloody 1400-seater. It's a lot of tickets, guys.
301 in there. We've made an improvement.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
I like the idea of them spending their Easter with us every year, like some weird religious cult.
yeah, guys, but we would love you to spend the Easter weekend with us. It'll probably be a bank holiday, I guess, for a lot of you guys. So if you'd like to come see us, Some Laugh Live, our biggest show to date. We've got some guests to announce in the near future.
some biggies.
Yeah.
Got some big plans for
the
it.
Patreon behind the scenes Edinburgh content where we're arranging a guest about half an hour before we're gone. We won't do that at the pavilion.
No, we'll have a bit
we're
more
taking it
preparation for the pavilion. We'll be taking it very seriously. But we're very excited to do that room. It's a big room, so we'll see you all there. Exciting times ahead, guys. And so tickets are on sale now in the description below. And aside from that,
Snap them up.
enjoy today's episode.
Enjoy, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the Some Laugh podcast.
It could be like, oh, that was some laugh, or there was just some laughs.
Some laughs.
Well, no promising all laugh.
No, there's going to be some.
It's some laugh. Because it used to be the opener would do, I think the opener would do 20, but it was like the opener was kind of the lowest strung, and then 20, like the main support was doing 20,
Yeah.
and that was like,
Now they've flipped it.
and then so it's,
You were opening.
Yeah.
so you're doing 20?
Yeah.
Aye.
20, yeah. Maybe there's 10 at the top and then 20. Yeah,
Because it's a harder job, to be fair, so like the more experienced person should be doing that, do you know what I mean?
I think
Yeah.
opening's the hardest, I think.
Aye, it is, aye.
Yeah.
Especially with the way I do it. But because closing's like a different skill. It's like you just got to be confident and hitting with the jokes, deal with any shit in there. But there's energy, you can play with it. Whereas opening the club is often just like cold. When you hit them with some like, we tell me your best stuff at the start, and they're like,
Yeah, you're like, this is going to be a long
yeah,
set.
yeah. And then you watch the middle, and they're all like chill, and you're like,
Yeah.
Aye.
I remember that's great in comedy when you start middling in clubs, and you're like, I'm fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm sick. I'm better than that guy who was on first.
Yeah.
You're doing a 10 in the middle. It's like running half of the 100 metres and being like, I'm quicker than you, son. But
that's why they
I
used,
ran that in 8 seconds.
they used to call that the sweet spot, didn't you, when you would do the 10-minute open spot at the stand weekend, because it's like the opener would come on and you'd always like, a lot of time they would maybe struggle, sometimes just because it's harder opening, and then sometimes maybe just if they weren't as strong, and then you're like a newer, particularly if you're a local act as well in the early, and you're like, oh, fucking go on and smash it and all that. But part of it is like, and then you move to opening, and then you're like, oh god, that's a fucking fighter's task.
Yeah, it's tough. But now I'm at a stage where I actually prefer opening just so I can get home early.
yeah.
I would take a harder gig just to get like an extra half an hour in my bed.
That's the big ambition.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
That's where we are.
I'm like working out like, right, okay, I'm on at 8 o'clock. I could be up the road for 8:45. This is great.
That's how you start the set as well. You really start that watch like, okay, let's get through this as quick as possible. 16 all right? 16 at the top all right?
Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, I got it.
I do remember as well, let's see if you're closing as well, like, I do remember when I like used to like go to gigs and like the closer wouldn't turn up until like later, and I'm like, what are they going to do? And then like now I'm like, I'm not fucking going there, I've got shit to do, like I'm not going there for the start of the show and waiting about for 2 hours, fuck that.
Yeah,
But
you get jaded, don't you?
yeah, you do.
Perspective changes so quick, man. I remember just thinking anyone who did a club on the weekend, I'm like, they're gods.
Yeah.
They're comedy. Like, imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine being a comedian on a weekend at the stand or whatever. That's sick. And now you're there, you're like, oh, that's a bit long, innit? Yeah, okay, all right, Jesus Christ. How was it? It was fun. Six.
It's funny because that was a big realisation for me when I like, because for years when you start out in the circuit and that was the thing, the goal was like, oh, if I could just fill all my weekends doing every like comedy club and you could go around doing that in the whole country, and then you realise that no, the real thing is being able, maybe even doing those rooms, but like doing your solo show there, like
Yeah.
doing a tour there, because then even if you get into these clubs and then you go, it's not really enough to like live off,
No,
is it?
no. People are like, when you get on the circuit, your first objective is to get off the circuit.
That's
Yeah.
it.
You get on and you're thinking, this is sick, and then someone's like, here's £100 to perform to dickheads, and you go, actually, I'd rather do something else, to be honest.
Yeah.
People came for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
you
then,
mentioned
when you started and when you start getting paid, you're like, somebody's going to pay me £100 to
Yeah.
tell these jokes to that kids. I do this for free.
I remember the first time I got paid. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was emceeing a gig in Hammersmith in London,
Uh-huh.
and there was about 4 people in, and I got a
The
third.
Apollo?
I got booked a solo show. You got to be ambitious in this career. I was like, first gig in the pub, second gig Apollo. We got first one the warm up, and annoyingly, yeah, I booked McIntyre to open, so I'm 65 grand down. But it was worth it. 4 people, they almost all stayed. So, yeah, and it was I got a third of the bucket, and that was a £5, and I remember holding that £5 and thinking,
Gonna frame it.
oh my god, yeah. It was just incredible. I was like, I think I was listening to the podcast. I think it was like Russell Howard talking about it. It's like the first time you get paid for stand up. It's like you're shown this like secret door where you don't have to live a shitty life.
Yeah.
You don't have to do an office job that everyone hates. You can actually do something that you want to do. Like people will pay you. It was incredible, man.
Yeah. That was a good
Anyway, got
thing.
mugged on the way back, but it actually was down 20 in the end. But whatever.
You've had an interesting journey though, Ali, with your like how you've kind of come up, because you've done like you've built your own following through.
Yeah, no, it's been very hard. Yeah, you're quite right. Thank you. I am very brave. Yes.
But you've done it kind of like through like the online videos and that. Not dissimilar to Mr. Buchanan here as well in terms of like kind of sketchy stuff.
You know
do
what
it.
it's like, brother.
You got it.
You
This
know
is-
what
this
it's
is a
like.
struggle.
Trying to. I wish I was like you, Mark. You know what it's like. You get to walk down the street, no one bothers you. You don't know what. You don't want this. Isn't that right, Steve? You don't want this. It's a curse, really. It is. Man. Everyone be like, please, picture. I love your video. Ugh, get away. Just trying to do my dick jokes and go home, mates.
Try to live my life,
Yeah,
man. This
yeah.
is crazy.
But well, because I know the one I really loved, because my mates, when I stayed in London, like when I was down there doing gigs, like my mates stayed in Clapham.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
that Clapham guy date
Clapham
one that
guy,
you done.
man. You know, people still come up to me about that one. That was one where I was like, oh, this is going to be too niche. But then sometimes, you know what it's like in comedy in general, if the observation's specific, more people relate to it.
Yeah.
I got given that advice. Was like, if you're just like, I like orange juice, it's nice, no one gives a fuck. But if you're like, I love it when the pulp hits your lips and people are like, yeah, or they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But that Clapham video, mate, and then going out nights out afterwards, and people are like, mate, are you the Clapham guy? I literally got sent your video about fucking 74 times. Absolute banter. And I was like, I'm trying to be
You're
cool,
just
man. I'm
meeting
trying to
all
pretend
the-
I'm not posh. Can you fucking get away from me?
You're just meeting all the arseholes that you were pretending to be like.
Yeah. This is what's great about those sort of people, because they love it when you rip into them,
Aye.
but they also don't have enough self-awareness to think there's any sort of actual malice, like to think, no, but you are a twat. They're like, mate, you absolutely ripped me. Anyway, so I've got to go back to my finance job and fuck over the whole world. But like, legend, bro, seriously. Yeah, I can always tell with those people. I remember I was on a date once. Yeah, I know. I'm doing all right. Just the once though, and I was on this date, and you know when you can see people who clock you, and you can feel a bit of like, oh my god, is that? Like you wouldn't know it's like
Yeah.
but
I had this before any of these cunts.
Yeah, you were a Facebook guy. But This is a bit different. Instagram's a bit different.
yeah. So these are people under 50, and but you know what, you guys know what it's like, and you get a little bit of that thing of, okay, how's this interaction? I can always tell if they're going to be the Clapham guys, because it's always two blokes in like white Charles Tyrwhitt shirts going,
Yeah.
is that fucking me? I think that might be them. And I'm like, here they come. And I remember I was on the stage and I was like, I know what they're going to say. And they went, mate, did you do that Clapham video? And I'm like, guilty as charged. I just tell that. But yeah, it's I had to do videos because it was lockdown, and it was just like, I always wanted to. I don't know how you guys felt doing sketches and online stuff. Like, I always wanted to do sketches, but I was so scared about what my mates would think.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it because I didn't want them to go, that was shit. I didn't want
Yeah.
them to be passed around the phone going, oh, have you seen Ali's sketch? It's awful. And they do that now, but I don't care.
Yeah.
So now you can be like, I've got X amount of followers, and it's like, it's
I mean, I
more
bought
legit.
them. I bought all of them. But
Yeah.
it's really easy to do, actually. 'Cause a lot more people don't do it. I feel like there's not even that many people in the world. I've got 8 billion followers. I'm big in China. There's more people out there. So yeah, but it's true. And also that thing of, I remember someone giving me that advice when I started, where it's like, I was a new comic and I was doing angel comedy. Ever done angel comedy in London?
Yeah,
Lovely gig. And when you're starting out, it might be like what the stand is if you're in Glasgow. Like when you're starting out, it's like where you want to be. It's like, so you see it's so cool because it's got this buzzing crowd. Everyone loves it. And it's like the first time you feel properly like a comedian. You're doing your jokes and they're all getting laughs. And you're like, this is great. And I remember I was doing, I think my first gig there, and the MC there, he was asking me how things are going in comedy. And I was like, I feel like I'm not making the comedians laugh enough. Like I feel like they don't really like myself. And he was like, comedians aren't going to pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
And it's that thing, if you're trying to make the guys at the back of the room laugh and that's it, like it's not going to do anything for you, man. You got to make real people laugh.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I actually think that that's something that's a bit of a symptom of maybe starting out in the London circuit, because it seemed, because I always remember being down and doing Angel once, and there was a guy that I'd gigged with like earlier that week at like one of these like gigs where it's only other comedians, and he said to me, this is the first gig I've done in like 2 months to a real crowd. And I was like, what? And so I guess like part of the reason why so many people, particularly like if you're based in London, like end up becoming like kind of maybe more meta or like try to make the comedians laugh, or it's all quite niche stuff, because really that's your audiences when you start out, is just playing to other comics. So the only way you can do well is to make them laugh. But you're so right about like, you've got to just focus on the audience that are there rather than who the other comics are on the bill or the booker or anything. It's just make the fucking crowd laugh.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do so many gigs in London. You do like 8 gigs a week, and total audience of 7 people in there.
It's crazy,
like,
isn't it?
It's what, so it sort of can be like counteractive.
Yeah.
Like, all the London comics who start in London, they'll remember their first gig outside of London when you go to like some village outside or whatever, and like go to town hall, and then you're there like, isn't comedy shit? Like, no one makes money off of it, and they're going, can you just fucking make us laugh, man? What's this about?
Aye.
And that's like a real sobering experience, because that's the main people. And it was the same, but it was the same with sketches as well. Like, and then I started doing them, and it's just. I do really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I'm not one of these people who, some people are like, oh, you've got to do stuff online now, haven't you? And I just think, well, you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, you can just, if you like doing stand-up, clip up your stand-up and do that. Pay someone to clip it. You don't even have to touch it anymore. Like, you can all do that. Like, you don't have to do silly sketches, but I love putting on wigs and sketches. And look, that is something for a therapist, but at the same time, I'm trying to monetize it as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
for when I get
100%.
I had this thing during the Fringe where, so I was making this sketch for my Fringe show, and I'd bought like fucking wigs and a crown and capes and all that shit, and I was sending it back to Amazon. I took it down to the post office, and they were like, oh, you need to have the individual items in these paper bags. So the guy started like taking everything out the box in front of me. It was fucking humiliating. He was like, oh, is this all for you, mate? Is it wee crowns and all that? And I was just like, no, it's for the kids, man. So now, and it's my local, so every time I just need to pretend that I've got kids. To this guy buying Kinder Surprises and shit like that.
Fucking kid on the died.
I was going to say, when does it change?
Going in a black suit one day.
Still handing back the crowns. It's like that baby shoes never worn.
Aye.
2 crowns never worn.
I did that one time in work where I think I was doing a gig or something, and I knew I wouldn't get it off, so I just I phoned in sick and I pretended my uncle had died, and then so like the next shift I came in, I just came in wearing a black suit, so I just came in. It was like an afternoon shift. I was like pretended the funeral was that day, like just to get that air of legitimacy. But they probably just like, this guy's fucking ass.
They'd seen you at the gig, you posted about it. But it's funnier for them to play along. Worst thing is, you're a beekeeper. I was like, fucking, if you want to wear the black suit, then fucking crack on, mate. Jesus Christ.
But no, you're so right about that thing about like, just letting go of what your mates or what other comedians or something are going to think to post stuff online, because I think that's what held so many people back for so long. And I think lockdown was the thing that was like, right, well, there was no other option at that point than to post stuff online. And certainly now I think everybody's caught, even like because it was always, it's probably not even like any specific person, but it's this amalgamation of like a sort of bitter older comic going, oh, look at this, or worrying about people sharing it in WhatsApp groups or whatever. But ultimately, I think even the most like sort of kind of cynical person, like bitter, older, jaded guy, everybody realizes that that's what you need to do now.
Yeah.
So and ultimately it's like, and part of the thing is like, they're not all going to be classics. You put something up, if it's a bit shit, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, you can still do well or not, and you know you it's just part of the process of trying to find one that hits, I suppose.
Yeah.
So like gigging in that way, though, I think.
Yeah.
Like, gigging, I think, gives you such a great philosophy on life in general, because your ego gets destroyed because you have your. I mean, most people's first gig goes well. I think most people's first gig. I don't know how yours were, but it's like
Yeah, I'd
you've
say
got
so.
mates in. You feel like it's gonna. You're so scared that if you get a laugh, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
my God, that was electric. That was amazing.
So I just wanted one.
Yeah,
laugh,
like, oh my
you
god,
know,
oh my god, I'm hilarious. and then you and then another gig will be terrible, and then you have loads of terrible things, and it just shows that you just have to accept that it's not going to go well all the time. And as long as you keep working on something, and the longer you enjoy it, you will reap the benefits, and you just get better and better. And I think that gives you philosophy for lots of stuff. And I think video is the same. Like, every video I do isn't going to bang. They're not all great. They're not all classics. But as you say, if you enjoy doing them, then no one takes that away from you. And generally, the quality just improves, and you get over any of the bad ones because there's another one coming.
Yeah.
Aye.
Because I think that happens to people as well. I've seen that with people where they're reluctant, and then they finally dip their toe in, and then they have a video that goes viral, and they go, oh my god, it's my calling.
Yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
amazing. And then like they do another video and it's shit, and they're like, I'm never doing it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they just wanted that high off of it.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. Do you have like, are you quite meticulous in putting out a sketch this day and I need to put this amount of sketches out each week, or are you just...
I need deadlines.
Yeah.
Deadlines. I'm terrible with just like, when I get a good idea, I'll do it, because otherwise I just won't do anything. Like,
But do you think that if you don't do that, people won't? Because it's about consistency and
it is. I just really think there's no one way to do it. I think there's, and it's even, you can depend on platforms. Like, I got mates who are YouTubers that do like one video a month, and but it's an incredible video, and that's the way their audience works, and they got like 1 million subscribers, and it's great.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I have quantity. I don't have quality. That's my philosophy. So I'll just be like, I'll just get loads of ideas. I hate the idea of like working for ages on one thing in general, let alone doing that and then putting it out, and it's like 3 likes and 1 comment from Bitcoin 433. And invest now to become a quadrillionaire. And that was a good sketch though, by the way. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't be asked with that. So I think consistency is good. And what I'd say to anyone, I mean, I'm no guru, but I think in general anyway, what I'd say to anyone is like, there's no like, I'll do it every day or do it 3 times a day, just do it more than anyone else. It's like, if you just do it once a week, but you just work on that. I think Josh Pugh's a great example of that. Like, I remember chatting to him, just 1 video a week, but he writes it really well, and it comes across really well, and they generally go really well, and there's no formula to it. Like, I'm never a believer in, oh mate, so apparently the algorithm's changing, that you have to do that, and like, how many hashtags? Like, oh, I put 4 hashtags, but then I put 3 in it. I'm just like, if it's a good video, it'll do well.
Yeah.
Like, I you know, if you post at like 4 a.m. on Tuesday, then Vietnam pick it up, and then it goes to Hong Kong, and then it'll eventually get back to London. Like honestly, I just think the quality is what's the main thing, and you just got to try and as much to do as best quality stuff as you can. I mean, how do you find it with your videos?
Yeah, I'm kind of slacking recently. I've not put out anything for... Went by and he was like, "So I've not seen your dad in ages," and I was like, "Yeah, I know, yeah, probably, I know why, but I'm not telling you." I was like, "Yeah, he's
How
just
come you
quiet."
don't want to tell him? You just don't want to go into it?
I just couldn't be arsed going into it, and then I was past the point of no return, and I was like,
And then because
I
then
can't
if he
tell
goes,
him now.
because you're like, when did it happen? You're like, well, actually 3 years ago, but I've just been
I couldn't be bothered telling you that.
fucking hell.
So yeah, I'm living 2 separate lives.
Well, so you got in one, you got a very healthy dad who doesn't fancy going down to the shop, Now they got these annoying kids and take it.
I never see any of your kids. Oh, they're always with my dad.
That's where he is. He's babysitting now. He's looking after him.
He gets them at the weekends, and
Yeah. But yeah, like, I'm just, I don't know why I've not put out anything. Like, like leading up to the Fringe, I was like, I need to work on that, and then just afterwards, I'm like, it kind of felt nice to just not have to have this pressure of I need to put a video out each week or whatever. And now I need to do it eventually because like ticket sales are pretty shit for like I'm doing London 2 shows in London next week and it's not selling that good. So I'm like, oh fuck.
Where are you doing them?
Pleasance.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. Oh, you just notice it. I even notice it on like a daily basis. Like if I've done videos that have been going well in the last few days, like walking around, I'll just get noticed more. And then when I'm not on it, when I'm walking around and like no one notices me, and I just think it's because like I'm not in public consciousness. You know what I mean? Like it's not because people who recognise me, they're not like huge fans, but they've just seen me pop up on the phone like that week.
That's so funny because I've found that as well, and it is like, and I've not been posting on my own TikTok. I posted my own stand-up clips for a while. Mainly because I just filmed the special that I put out recently.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, but I didn't have any stand up stuff now. I was just working on podcast clips and that. So the only time I would get stuff, it would always be, I like the podcast, or I've seen you do that podcast, because that was what's coming up in the feeds. And then the last couple of weeks, I've been putting old clips out, and then a few times recently, I've seen that again. People are starting to go, you're a stand-up comedian, whatever, and it's like, but it's so true, that thing. Yeah, you're coming up that week, and then that week you can go, my God, I'm a bloody household name now.
It's great. You know, when you got a clip that's done great, and you're walking around being like king of the internet, like, trying to go into places like, oh God, do you want to live a normal life? You know, I love those ones as well because I've got such duality on that. Like, I'll sometimes be out with mates, whatever, and maybe one, especially if you're out and people are drinking and stuff, then a couple of people drink more and they might come up and say something, and it's usually the same of like, do you do something?
No.
Are you online or something? They're never like, oh, I love that bit you do.
And they never know your name. It's always, are you that guy for TikTok?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think I was still nice, whatever. But then I'm a bit like, oh, it'd be nice to just be able to chill with people. And then when I'm just chilling with my friends, I'm looking around like, no one gonna say anything. No one gonna interrupt me.
Well, I think that's a really dangerous sort of mindset again. So I was just like, I always assume like nobody cares, because I remember, and I'm interested to hear your experience of like the first time you had a viral thing or something, because I remember I'd put out this video. I wasn't even, I'd had one viral before, but then seen I put that Scottish Phrases one.
Oh, yeah.
We were living together at the Fringe that year, and then we were doing the free Fringe, and suddenly I was starting to sell it every day or something to turn people away and all that. And then I was thinking, my God, when I go back to Glasgow, I'm not going to be able to walk down the street, because you know what I mean? And then you went, no one gives a fuck, do you know what I mean? And like, so I think after a few times you realise like just the nature of it, as you say, like it comes up on people's phones that in that week they'll maybe notice you if they see you, but then it kind of goes away. But did you have that when you because when you first you think, my God, this is I'm a name now, or I'm a person, like I'm like. You know, you get to that level and you realise it's not.
Yeah, oh man, it's all so perspective as well. Like I remember, getting a few more followers and just thinking, whoa, and then looking up at people with their following, thinking, oh my God, if I had that, like I'd have the world, you know. Yeah. And now I've sort of got that some of the people I looked up to, thinking they must just be rich and stuff, and it's like, whatever, you know. Yeah. You're always looking up, you're always looking at the next thing. I think when I went viral first time, what I found funny was like people, I don't know if you've had this, where people come out of the woodwork that you never talked to, that message you. Like all those years where you put in grafts of stand-up they couldn't give less of a shit about. But then when they see some video of you being stupid for 14 seconds, they're like, oh, mate, we went to school together. That's crazy, you know? Yeah. And I was talking to someone about this. Like I always like to feel like a rapper in those moments. I'm like, where were you, bro? Like, where were you during the hustle in my North London grammar school that I went to? Where were you? Like, you were a hater back in the day, and now you want my riches. Like, I've not even got riches. Someone needs to give me the riches. So it's nice. It's nice that, but it's just never to get. You just always have to just be thinking about the next one. That's how I see it, because it's similar with the bad ones. Like, I think it's nice to enjoy when the videos do well, but you can't just dwell on it and be like, that's sick, I'm sorted and stuff. Just always thinking about the next one. That's how I sort of cope with it all. And also as well, this is another trap that I think is easy to fall in. One thing goes well, and then you think, well, I'll do that more. I'll do that same thing.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you. I mean, they're doing it.
Oh, and then TikTok for sure. That's like they love that. Like I did a video recently that I haven't had a video go viral on TikTok for a while, and it went viral. And I just had more clips of it because it was like one of those compilation ones. And I was just like, I'll just send that out today. And like they were all like, obviously the first one was the best and did way better, but like the others were getting hundreds of thousands of views themselves. And I was just like, I could just pedal this out until it's like really wrung dry. But you just don't want to be in the same way people don't know your name. You don't want to be the person coming up to you and be like, "Old El Paso, oh, that's you, innit?"
That does happen though.
But like to just be known as that for the rest of your life. It's like that sort of Alan Partridge thing or something like that. Just no one to ever know, because you can get super famous if you just do the same shit. You're the guy who does like West Side Glasgow versus East Side Glasgow. That's you, innit? And that's just. And then they come to your shows and you're talking about your life, and they're like, "We did. I don't want to hear about any of that sort of stuff. Do the meme, do that thing you do."
Well, do you find that because that was certainly something that you were kind of like you like your show was kind of almost about that as well, because you're doing videos and stand up and
sponsored by Old El Paso.
Throughout.
I know people as well though that do those like they'll do certain kind of videos and then they'll be concerned that their audience won't want to hear about anything outside of that topic. But I don't know if that's necessarily true. Have you found that?
I don't think so. So, well, I'll say on that first point, I don't think so at all. I see that with people that they purposely pigeonhole themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the tech comedian now because I did a video on Apple iPhones, and now I'm just got to do shit like that all my life.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like, if you love that and if you've got a niche interest, by all means. But if you're just doing it to try and get some more followers, because ultimately, like, you want people to invest in who you are, and especially, I love stand-up. Stand-up for me is better than videos. Like, when you're in the room and you're having a great time, and you've got the audience on side, and you really just feel like you're chatting, it's just like the best. I think nothing beats it, and that's where I want to be with my audience and people coming to see me. So I don't think you have to purposely pigeonhole yourself, and I think people do that to try and just get a few more followers quickly. I've got a few of my videos that went up that went viral early when I started doing videos were like British people videos. And so Britain is this sort of place of England. And,
I know, but still part of it.
I thought you would have changed that by now, but I don't know when I'm going to come up and need a passport, but I'm never coming back if I need a passport. Fuck you guys. I'm going abroad where it's
You
sunny.
should surely be able to get a
I
Scottish
would be able
passport,
to,
though.
yeah. Half English, half Scottish, yeah.
This is right, because just to our listeners, every English guest we have says this, but you do actually have legit Scottish.
My mum's from Coatbridge, that's where she grew up, and then my grandpa lived in Airdrie, so we used to go.
Was it? I was thinking Motherwell. Was it? Did you not get family in Motherwell or something like that?
I've got nothing in Motherwell.
No,
as I know of. That's where Steve's kids are.
Because this is a thing I always find that, like, nobody can really do a convincing Scottish accent unless you've got Scottish family.
Man, I went and did a Scottish accent last night at the stand early because I was just like, let's just go for it. Yeah,
did it go well?
Well, I did 2 minutes and then left, but yeah, it was all right. Yeah, I had people cut.
Because I've heard it and it's convincing.
It's okay.
Enough,
yeah, obviously I'll do it immediately on this podcast. Oh fuck, I'm listening to that. Oh fucking shit.
That's good.
People come up. You know, it's artistic and I'm doing a Scottish accent here, but you're not bad, you know. And I didn't understand what he said, but I assumed it was something like that. And then, but yeah, so I just do that because of the point of, because I look more Scottish than anyone else on the bill, and I feel their disappointment when I start talking. And I mentioned that I say, hey, how's it going? I'm disappointed I'm not Scottish as well, just to start. And
you're like a yassified Ray Bradshaw.
That's a good point.
That's the bio now. I've never met Ray, but I've seen him online. We'll do it before or after. Don't two-hander.
Like some fucking Turkish hair transplant place.
Yeah, I'm like flopping around like Michael McIntyre. Pull it, you can feel it.
But you're saying you've done a lot of British videos.
Oh
like
yeah,
the kind of British people thing.
Yeah, so and that meant that I got a few, because now at the start when I did it in 2020, I just did British as a sort of like how the rest of the world sees Britain as basically these posh English people, and now I do English because I feel like it's not right. But at the time when I started, and some of them went viral, and now I get some audience, especially in London, who are like non-native English speakers who have lived in the UK or now live in the UK, and they've come from Europe, South America, wherever, and they've all lived in like London for a few years, and some of them, they've never been to stand-up comedy before, but they've seen my like British people videos, and so they'll come up to me after the show, and I don't even know if they've enjoyed it. I've like not seen them like laugh at anything. They go, "Oh my god, your video where you talk about the British people who talk about the weather is so funny. It's so much like my colleague." And I'm like, "Cool, bro. Like, do you enjoy the show?" It's like, "No, I did not, but the weather is so good."
Ali's alright to do that accent as well because he's got family here from wherever the fuck that was.
That was what that was Barcelona if it was in India, and that was a nice mix. But yeah, so I thought instead of doing everyone's accent, I'll just do them all together at the end.
Yeah, it's one time,
And I just sort of, and those ones are a bit tricky because I feel like for instance, I've got a bit at the moment, which I did last night, about why if you live in the UK, unfortunately for you guys still do, and but you love holidays because basically everywhere else is sort of nicer and it's better. And then I'd sort of talk about why people still live in the UK and stuff, and those people love that stuff, and you feel like I could just do an hour to these people about what it's like living in the UK and they would love it, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's one where you have that temptation where you could just go around Europe probably and just be like, "I'm the British guy."
Yeah,
that's it.
In Britain, we do this. And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's so true." And just playing on stereotypes, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, because I think sometimes there's guys who are like expats and they'll do stuff about being British or Scottish or something, but they're like a person who doesn't live theirs anymore. Like, you don't want to be like, say, an American's idea of what a Scottish person is. Or honestly, that's the thing. Sometimes you go down south because you sort of need to play up to stereotypes a wee bit, and you're like, I don't want to become an English person's version of what a Scottish person is just to get through the gig because it's not authentic at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So but that would be. You could possibly make a good living doing that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, you just need to be true to yourself and trust that even if there's been a certain thing that's got you through or got the people to come, you can still showcase other aspects of yourself and who you are and that they'll enjoy it and just trust that it'll be funny.
I do feel like any time I've gigged in England, I've had to say up top from Glasgow and do that for a couple of minutes and then go into my material.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that if you're up here gigging? Do you have to be like, well, you said at the start you said that joke, but like, do you feel like you have to do that or?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, this is my first weekend I've ever done in Scotland as at a club. So I sort of not talking with loads of experience, but yesterday I definitely felt like I had to. But I also just think genuinely the optics of me coming on in Glasgow and people are like, right, he's definitely going to be from around here. And then coming in with a very southern English. Because not even like even if I came in and I was like a Geordie or Scouse or something like that. Because even that, I think in terms of, from my experience with my family and sort of Scottish English divide, it's not even necessarily like Northern English. It's like this idea of this posh Southerners who are like, "Okay, Scots, you've had a lot of fun now, but get in line," you know. And that is sort of what my voice then would represent. So I feel like I do have to say that. And it's a way of just getting people on side, you hope. But then my worry is that, you know, you could just, I never want to be one of these apologists as well. You know,
exactly,
you go on. I think it's sometimes fun to play with that because you could, in another way, you could be one of these sort of Southern English people comes on and be like, I'm so terribly sorry, I'm English, but here I am, and everyone's so scary here, because I'm just a stupid Englishman and stuff. And it's like, I don't think people buy that either. They don't.
No, it's disingenuous, and like Liam Whitney always says that. He's obviously lived in Scotland for years, and he always says that English accent when come up. He's like, don't do that. I don't apologise for being English. And it's the same way, but it's worth just, if you can acknowledge it in some way with a joke, just like something like that. I feel like going down south, like, it's not even so much like, I don't think people really care, but it's the accent is a thing. And I used to go in and sometimes I wouldn't say something. I would just sort of start and then I would literally hear people going, he's Scottish, like dealing with one. So I go in and I say something about the accent, get it out of the way, and then I can talk about whatever. But it's almost as if, like, if you don't say it, it's like, does he not notice that he talks weird or whatever, you know? But then I've also seen comics. I remember watching this. There's a comic that's blind, right? And I remember seeing him like doing new material, and I think he kind of didn't mention it. And I know they say like there's like a weird equivalence to make, but it's like the thing that the audience are
It's the most
is the most
noticeable
obvious
thing.
noticeable thing.
Well, he didn't look at his notes once.
He didn't mention it, but no. But so like I think you need to just kind of know it. But have you spent a lot of time in Scotland then, like with family and stuff like that?
So I used to come up twice a year, every
Aye.
year. Spend Christmas in Airdrie, and then come up in August for like a little. Well, I think I was chatting to my mum about it today, and she was like, "I've got a joke for you," but I'm actually used it to be fair because she's like generally summer holiday in Airdrie. You know,
I was going to say it sounds
it's not where
bleak.
you want it. It's not where you want to go. Going to the time capsule, which was actually banging to be fair.
Aye.
When I was a
Yeah,
kid.
good to be ice rink in there.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, with the woolly mammoth.
Yeah,
That was lit.
yeah.
Yeah. And the little bowl where you span around and the getting drained out. I love that. But yeah, so I've spent a fair bit of time here. But to be honest, it's one of those where like I never even thought much of it. I never felt like English Scottish was just a laugh. Like I
Aye.
didn't really feel like there was any true anti-English sentiment. When I was up here, but I
Aye.
might have just been as a kid and just not really feeling like it was.
I don't think
And
there
then-
is really as well. I think it is
Yeah.
all just kind of a bit like it's almost
Yeah.
like a football rivalry
Yeah.
type of thing in the sense of like just
Yeah.
because nobody really cares. People
No.
are pretty much accepting the whatever. Do you know what I mean? But
But I didn't
Yeah.
even feel like the historic stuff of it. I just thought like, well, also because the way they teach history in England, like we're just never like the bad guys in any part of it. So I think like the most English Scottish politics they talk about is like Boudica, like from 1,000
I
years
don't
ago.
know what the fuck that even
Oh
is.
yeah. So obviously English people educating the Scots once again. But it's do they not have schools up here at all? Well, she's just like
No wonder
defended-
they're all coming up and fucking apologising.
But she was like this Celt warrior who defended the borders of Scotland from
yeah.
like Roman invasion, right? So, but I remember that, and you wouldn't hear anything other than that in English history. And the UK was just this thing of like, yeah, everyone loves it. We're just the
Aye,
UK.
and we
it's
were the
great.
good guys. We beat the Nazis and all
We
that.
we
Yeah,
bring everyone
yeah.
together. Like because
Aye.
my ex, she was Irish, and I assume she still is. And just a little tag there. But again, like that sentiment as well, like the way
Oh, aye.
the Irish are obsessed with England, the way they teach history about how much like that have interfered with Irish politics, and we
Aye.
never did anything.
Quite
We're like-
rightly, I would say.
You
Ali,
what?
to be fair.
yeah, because it's so shaped what's been going on over
Aye.
there, and we're just like, oh yeah, there was like a potato famine, and anyway, moving on, industrial revolution, and then you just
Yeah.
go on, and so pride that you get down there, where people are just like, why can't I be proud of being English? And it's like,
Aye.
you're not allowed to be proud of being English, but it's good to like educate yourself about the politics that have got you to where you are now, because it's not just all 2 world wars and 1 World Cup. Like there's a lot more going on, and I definitely felt that in Scotland. Like I never felt when I was coming up here, whatever. I just felt like, yeah, it's whatever. It's just part of the UK, innit? And then it was
Aye.
only afterwards that I felt, oh yeah, I guess there's sort of like a bit of a divide or anything like that. But
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it would be that. I mean, like you say, it is more of a kind of friendly rivalry. But did you have Scottish cousins and stuff that you would come up to see and stuff?
yeah, so I've got 2 sets of cousins, and one still live in Airdrie, and the other ones they got moved out to Dunblane because the dad was a bit like, you know, he wanted to be fancy, right? And he was just
Right.
like, I don't want them growing up with Coatbridge or Airdrie accents, so I'm gonna take them to
right.
Dunblane,
Wow.
live in like a lot of middle class little recluse over there.
And they're now Jamie and Andy Murray.
Yeah, really boring. Don't really chat too much. So yeah, but that was so they're off there. So I've got two sets, and it's funny because John, one of my cousins, I remember like when I was 14 and hanging out with him, and I was struggling like to understand.
Oh, really?
It was like thick, quick talking and stuff, and I'd just like nod along whatever he said and just laugh. And if he laughed, I'd laugh sometimes and
Yeah,
stuff like
much
that.
like this podcast.
Sorry, what was that? Yeah, but it's and I was very like thick. I remember accent, and then talk to these other sets of cousins, and they'd be like a lot posher and
Aye.
more English sounding.
You're a Man U fan.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
Well, my dad is from Manchester.
Right.
So I'm like genetically northern, but I've become a little southern softie, which is lovely for me. Both my parents grew up, my mum especially, she grew up quite working class in Coatbridge, and then my dad was probably like lower middle class, to be honest, actually. But he was born in Wythenshawe in Manchester, then lived in Blackpool, and then eventually came down to London. So it's one of those where like I have that ready to go whenever questioned. And then the second one is so people are like, especially in London, so why are you a United fan then? And you're like, my dad's from Manchester. Oh yeah, but you love saying that, don't you? So yes, I do.
Right. And then you're getting the home games up for London like every other fucking
Yeah,
country.
yeah, literally, yeah. Honestly, mate, like we'll be playing West Ham or Spurs or something. It's just full of United fans on the train up there, and yeah, because we're season ticket holders as well, so we go to and we've been able to go to some of the European away games now, which is sick. But yeah, who do you support? Do you support football teams?
I'm Celtic. He doesn't bother that much, but he's Rangers. But
Do you have a Scottish team?
Rangers would be my Scottish team. That's one
of course, fucking
Thought I
hell. Scotland's deep south. No, hang on. What am I talking? I'm talking about Ayrshire. Airdrie's a different place. I always get them mixed up. But Airdrie is pretty Rangers. Where have you been? And where's the best place you've seen United play in Europe? Because it's a good away trips are good, aren't they?
Yeah.
I went to Barcelona.
Oh mate, Celtic at Barcelona. What was that like?
It was great. Like it was only there for the one night, but it was good. But what was funny was, I mean, it was fucking freezing because I guess it was like February or something. So I only
As well.
yeah. But the thing that happened, I don't know if they still do this, but we got there. And there's the bar and everyone's like going, beer. So I'm right, get a couple of beers, that'll sort me till half time, right? So I finally get these beers, find my mates, go up, and as soon as I got up to my mates, they're like, why did you get non-alcoholic beers, mate? I didn't know. I think anyone knew that it was non-alcoholic. So I just had to fucking drink these non-alcoholic beers. It's fucking shit.
It's so funny as well because then you're stuck with it
I
as
know,
well.
that's it.
Yeah, you can't just be like, oh fuck that, then throw it away.
And it's not easy if I even get one. I'd fucking two. Like, all right, that's it. Get tanked up first half and all that, and then
We've I was in a stag down where we had this all-inclusive hotel, and it was like a non-alcoholic and an alcoholic pump that you could just go and help yourself with, but I didn't realise that, and the whole time I was like, are you drinking the red beer or the blue one? And we're like, the red one, obviously. And I was like, no, the blue one's quite nice, you should try it. I'm like, why are you drinking non-alcoholic beers the whole weekend? I was just on non-alcoholic
I
pints.
night out dancing away, like buzzing, like, oh man, I'm
steaming.
so I need a kebab. I wouldn't normally, but I'm fucked.
I can't have the alcohol. I've got the kids to look after.
yeah. What's that about? It's called responsibility, mate. Try it sometime.
So you went to Nou Camp?
Yeah, been there a couple times. Weirdly, so much in Spain, man. Like I don't know why we've just got tickets. So that was my first time. Was in Barcelona. Then went back. Been to the what's the Atletico Madrid one called now? One's a Metropolitano as well. That was banging atmosphere. San Sebastian, Real Sociedad.
Aye.
Which have you guys been to San Sebastian?
No.
Oh mate, that's a good one for a solo trip.
Oh, aye.
Mark, oh,
I'm
mate,
planning to
it's
go on holiday.
most Michelin star restaurants in a sort of square mile or whatever.
Is it?
And it's no inexpensive, and it's just a beautiful place. And honestly, it's one of those where we kept being told restaurants are amazing, and we were like, well, where should we go? And we were asking everyone, where should we go? And the local people, where should we go? And everyone was just going, anywhere's good. And it's true. Like you walk in anywhere, it's amazing.
Wow.
My dad does this funny thing when we go abroad where he changes his accent, but not to the accent of the country we're in. So we were in San Sebastian and we're going into this restaurant, and he goes, and the person comes out in pure English, sees us, good pure English. He's like, how many for you guys? And he goes, deux personnes, deux. I'm looking at him like, why are we French? And we sat down at the table and they gave us the French menus. And I went to him, I don't understand what this menu is. And he was like, yeah, we're going to have to ask for the English ones. And the waiter looked so confused because he was like coming over to these French table, and we just, in English, were like, can we have the English ones, please? I was like, I thought you were French a minute ago. And then we were in Germany, in Munich, and then he got an ice cream and he went, gracias. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
That's fucking hilarious, man.
So San Sebastian is a lovely place. That was a very cool stadium, the Real Sociedad one, I forgot what it's called. And that was probably the best because it's just a bit quirky. And and also, like, you just realise how, like I know the hooliganism isn't as bad as what I've seen on TV from the 80s and all that sort of stuff, but like the way UK teams treat like the fans and the police and all that sort of stuff, and it's wild because there everyone's just wandering around, you just walk in, you just chill out and all that sort of stuff. Like it's really nice. So.
Yeah, it's none of the cordons and
no,
kind of stuff.
All that. Like, it's just quite chill. So that's quite fun. So yeah, I'd probably say that one. And then went to Allianz last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and that was fun. And it was weirdly Oktoberfest then, and we just completely randomly didn't even know. But yes, it was like a great vibe.
You're gonna go to Germany next year.
No, well, I heard you guys are.
We're going to try and go.
Hopefully.
We've booked a big flights for the Euros.
Scotland will be there.
Still,
What do you need to qualify? I didn't see what happened in the Spanish game
by the
because
time
McTominay got a goal.
Scotland could qualify.
Do you need a win or a draw? Or
We
draw.
need Norway to drop. Like if they don't win all the remaining games, we will be through.
It doesn't matter what happens with you.
It doesn't matter. So they are playing on Sunday. They are playing on Sunday, and if they don't beat Spain, we are through.
Wicked. So it's looking good.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
And Scotland get one more. I need one more point.
That's great. Because who's the manager? Is it
Steve Clark?
Yeah, he's
Who
doing
used
right,
to be
isn't he?
Chelsea?
Yeah,
like,
no, I remember
assistant
Steve.
and
Yeah, he was West Brom for a bit, wasn't he?
Aye.
Yeah, because it's like a nicely quite balanced team. I mean, who's that plays up front? Che Adams.
Up front, Che Adams and London Dykes. So like they're the kind of, if we had a proper striker, we'd have a really good team actually now. But McTominay's been good for Scotland. That's goal he scored there,
beast. Yeah. Well, so what did that goal get to Salah? The one against Spain?
They said that initially it was like obstructing the keeper and then it was offside. So it was just like a pure. It was like ridiculous. It was
Spanish
ridiculous.
corruption.
Yeah.
And right to the top, mate.
Yeah,
but he scored 2 bangers for United the other week. He's one of those guys that's like annoying because in times he's sick. That strike for that free kick was
amazing.
If that was Tony Kroos or whatever, you'd be like, oh, that's incredible.
100%.
So he has that in his locker. But that'd be good. So you excited about going to Euros then?
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, I just hope Scotland make it, but I think...
Were you guys in the last one?
Aye, but it was 2 of the games were in Glasgow and the other one was Wembley.
Yeah, of course. That was a shit game.
I loved it.
But that's it. Every Scottish person I met,
we won now.
You got beat, and it's like it was 0-0. You got beat,
it was a moral victory.
It really was, but I always
that's
get
for
told,
fucking Budasia, whatever the fuck her name was. I don't know who the fuck it is.
You say, yeah, she plays left wing. Real Sociedad, I saw the other day. Budasia on the ball. So it was more Indian accent for you. And but I got told that England, Scotland is like England, Germany, where like England are like,
I was going to say this,
Germany, like we're just playing England. It's
I was
not a big deal, you know.
I was going to say, I think I've always been very amused at like England's pure obsession with hating Germany. Like, I mean, I get the world
wars and all
the World War. I mean, my fucking grand's house get bombed by the cunts, right? But I don't know, when Scotland play Germany, I'm not like pure the way.
I was watching the Beckham documentary and they were saying that their biggest rival was Argentina, like England.
England's?
Yeah,
Really?
because of like Falklands
Falklands
War and stuff.
Falklands and
I was like, how many fucking rivals have these cunts got?
yeah. Good that we don't open it up to the whole world. It's just, Jesus Christ. Yeah, wait till we're playing like India and Bangladesh. So yeah, well, again, Argentina, I feel like it's similar. Like if I was to meet an Argentinian, or there's an Argentinian knocking about, we'd be like, sick, man, what's Argentina like? But from my English mates who've gone to Argentina, they're like, yeah, there is a bit of
they don't.
animosity there because they don't really love the English being back here. Have you seen all these gingers coming out of Argentina, the footballers like McAllister? And it's like, you see that tweet which was like, some Scottish troops have a lot of explaining to do. Kids born in the 80s.
Have you seen a picture of his dad?
His dad in it.
It's like,
I looks like Commander.
A theatre and your dad introduced you on stage.
It was
that must have been a nice moment.
Oh, it was lovely. You know what? I wanted him to do it. My dad's always been well invested. Like when I did my first gig, my dad was like, "Oh, you know, you seen what Jack Whitehall and his dad do? we should do something like that. As if like he was coming up with the idea for the first time. But like I'd done like one gig and he was already on it. My mum never wants to be involved, never. But my dad and my sister, they don't want to be involved. But my dad absolutely loves it all the time. And I just thought, because he was sort of who got me into comedy anyway. Like we would just be watching comedy shows all the time when I was a kid.
What sort of shows would you be watching?
All the panel shows, smashed all those out, mate. Like, Have I Got News For You, Never Mind the Buzzcocks, Mock the Week. I'd be watching all those religiously, 8 out of 10 Cats, Live at the Apollo, all that sort of stuff. And then he got me into a bit of the old Monty Python in terms of films, like Life of Brian was one of the first comedy films I really, truly remember watching. What's Basil 40 Towers and stuff like that. And he took me to a first stand-up gig, Bill Bailey.
Wow.
That's
a cool first gig to go to.
It was great. Yeah, it was the one where he got out the Bollywood group singers as well and did a finale of like he did
Radiohead. Inspired you to do
Creep.
that accent earlier?
Yeah, that's right. I was like, that's comedy. So you gotta do that. But nowadays, too woke. You can't do that, mate. They shouldn't have browned up. But anyway, and they did Radiohead Creep, and I was like, this is so much fun. Bill Bailey was one of my favourites when I was growing up, and so I was like, this would be sick, full circle, like having him come out. And I sort of said it to him. I was like, look, no worries if not. I was just thinking this would be a nice thing. And he was like, it would be my honour. And I thought, it's lovely.
Brilliant.
And I remember we were in Barcelona for a game, and he goes, I thought I'd read you the first draft of like what I was going to say. And I was like, all right, mate. And I was just need you to intro me on. He gets out this piece of paper, it's like double-sided. I'm like, all right, here we go. And he starts going, Ali from the age of 13 started it, and then he went on to uni. I'm like, this is a Wikipedia page. It's really lovely. But yeah, so I was just like, keep it super short. And that was really nice. And I was like, you don't even need to touch the mic. Just go up to the mic and just say, you know, it's lovely everyone will be here. Please welcome to stage. And that'd all be great. That'd be wicked. And at one point he's doing that and he takes the mic out and I'm like, he's gone rogue. He's going to start doing some crowd work. What do you cunts do in the front row then, yeah, it was super lovely. And like, my dad's 70 now, so he's getting up there. And I don't know how obviously long you got left with your parents or anything. I just thought, I don't know how many specials I'm going to do, how long he'll be around for, and I just want him to be part of that. And I just think for whatever happens, like I've just got that recorded.
Yeah.
And like, I was hugging at Leicester Square Theatre. It's great. And that's also where, that was like the first time I saw my parents proud of me, I think.
Really?
At the Leicester Square Theatre. Not that time, but it was when I was doing this competition. It was like New Act of the Year. It was like Leicester Square run it. And it's mainly like big competition in London.
Basically. I know, I entered the heats and stuff. I never quite got at the final, but I remember I used to go down and do it.
It's just dickheads who get to the final. So anyway, I was in the final and I came runner-up in that, and that was really nice. I'd just been new to comedy there, and I remember I got 500 quid for it, and obviously like most of it had been paid for any comedy, and I got a little certificate, and my mum and dad had come down to watch, and I just remember seeing them afterwards, and they were generally like, you're all right, like this could actually happen for you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Was that the first time they'd seen you? No,
they'd seen me before, not much. I think maybe it was my dad was there at my first ever gig in London.
That's a bit of pressure.
And how about this? The audience was him and his mate.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, and then other comics, and it was like an open mic down at Tottenham Court Road. It doesn't happen anymore. I've forgotten what it was called. It was called like Angry Pear Comedy or something.
Wow.
And Robert White was on first. You know Robert White? Yeah. So obviously he's got, is it Asperger's he's got or autism?
I'm not going to diagnose him on a whim, but
no, he's got something funny about him anyway. But, So he's obviously he's on the spectrum that way. So he was going into his set, and my dad started talking over it. And he just couldn't handle it. Like, my dad said something to his mate, and he just couldn't handle it.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he just started banging on the keyboards. And, you fucked my fucking joke. This is a shit gig, and you fucked it. And my dad was just sitting there like, all right, okay, cool.
Fucking hell.
But yeah, and then so he just like is so annoyed, and he walks off. But the thing is, he's in a huff, but he's got to pack up his piano and keyboard. And so it's a tiny room. And so like the MC comes back on and goes, Robert White, everyone. And then... okay, we got, and then he's just shoving his keyboard into the thing, yeah. And I've spoken to him about this since, and but bless him because he left, and I felt really bad for him because obviously it's like obviously being on the spectrum like that stuff is like I can imagine be so fucking hard to like you're just doing this shit gig and then someone's like interrupting it, And he messaged the promoter and was like, just say, apologise to them, really sorry about that and all that sort of stuff. But then my dad came and saw me and he was like, sure you want to do this? Like, this is like, he I think it was, yeah. It was like, that was cool, wasn't it? You got to do stand-up and never thought... And to be honest, I didn't know if I was going to do it properly then. And then I remember he came to another gig and I didn't do well. And he's talking to me afterwards and he goes, how about you wear some funny glasses? Because like, people like Alan Carr, like Bill Bailey, they come on, people are already laughing because they look funny.
And now here you are doing all the sketches with the wigs and fucking...
Yeah, man. Contact lenses, never glasses though, not a hack. Yeah, it's funny. Was your parents like your stand-up?
You don't tend to invite your family
They didn't come a lot, and then my dad came and my sister came to the special I recorded and that. And they'd seen me enough over the years. I remember one time my mum and dad came to the Fringe and I was in like the free Fringe venue at Cowgate Head, that Barbados place.
Oh yeah.
And they fucking... They were just like, what the fuck? And like, I don't think the show was that good that year, and they were a bit like, and I just went, do you know what? This isn't for yous. You can come in. But they seen me enough times that it was like, they seen me do well. And like, my mum passed away a few years ago, but like, by the time she like, she'd have people like in her work and people she knew going, oh, like, I love your son's stuff. I'd seen the videos and all that. So it's like, enough to like, you know, like, no, it was going
it's
well.
legit.
Aye.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. My mum kind of comes sometimes. I feel like there's pressure though.
Steve always gets like a wee gang of his like friends and family coming at like, solo shows, and then they end up becoming the show.
Yeah, because it's always sweet. They're always there, but they're always like sitting in the front row or something. And I'm like, well, I need to address this. Do you know what I mean?
Do you ever get your kids down?
Yeah, they're always
These kids are going to introduce him for his special tape, actually.
Yeah, I can't wait to get the little rascals to get me on stage. But no, it just feels like and you just kind of need to. I don't mind if they come, just sit up the back where I can't see you.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, it's so disorientating when you go out and you're just seeing like your parents or your best mate just sit in front row. And
yeah,
oh, God,
especially if you're talking about them or embellishing a story that they're involved in.
Because I remember like when you were doing stuff about your girl, your fiance now. But she was like right near the front, and then like you just kind of pointed her out, and then you're doing it. You still had loads of routines today, and
it's
so like every
5
time
minutes in or something,
you're talking about it, everyone's just looking at her to see a reaction.
How does she deal with that sort of stuff?
She's fine with
fine
it.
with it,
yeah, so I'll have to run stuff past her and say, "Are you all right with this?"
Yeah,
and if she laughs at it, then it's like that's a green light.
Great, because my ex was like, she was supportive of it. She was like, "Look, yeah, if it's funny, it's funny," but ideally she'd have not been talked about at all.
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah. She's quite a private person.
Whereas now she's your ex, you just
so I just slag her off genuinely. To be fair, well, because we broke up probably about. Well, yeah, it's maybe like 7 weeks, something like that, and
still talking about
2 days and 3 hours. And 14 minutes. Yeah, so I'm over it. Yeah, wherever she is. Yeah, I bet she's missing me. I'm not missing her. Nah, it was mutual, if you ask me. And but I wanted a clean break, but I actually messaged her because I was going to do some. My first like TV.
I've seen that.
Dispatches, that one.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, of course.
Comedy
So
Central Live, was
it's
it?
just since it's been recorded. You can talk. Yeah, so I did Comedy Central Live.
Nice.
Have you guys done
last year?
Yeah, how was it? How did you find it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
Is it 21 Soho? Is it? Is that where they recorded it?
Pleasant.
It was in Pleasant. I think they did the first season. 21 Soho. And apparently the first season was rough to record. Yeah, it was all industry people apparently. No, it was live, but it was all spread out on all industry people.
I heard there was like a Zoom audience as well. Like you had to play a screen of.
God, that's grim, innit?
Yeah.
No, none of that.
Bye. So it was good fun then.
Yeah, it was a laugh. It was fun. It was good. But I wanted to talk about girlfriend and breakup stuff in it, and because she. Well, I assume she still does, but she worked in the industry anyway when we were going out. And I just thought I didn't want anything in there that then people would come up to me and be like, is that who you're talking about? Because I was, when I first was thinking about my set, I thought about talking about the fact she was Irish and I was English and that. But eventually I actually didn't talk about any of that stuff. But so I checked in on her on that, and she was like, yeah, sure. It's like, it's all fine. She was like, as long as you're not slagging me off, which I know. And she was like, which I know you wouldn't. And you're like, you don't know me.
This is the problem, actually. This is fine.
But I remember because in that special I did, which you can check out on YouTube, by the way, if you listen to this, Best Friend Ever, Ali was on YouTube. And it's a very small joke about us having sex, very small, like a couple lines. And she was just like, "Oh my god, if my parents ever saw that, I just wouldn't be able to talk to them and stuff like that." Because that's how she felt about it. She was like, "Don't, by all means, keep it in. Like, I got to laugh and stuff." And she was happy for me to do it and all that. But that's the way she was. And I think it's funny. I think that's always tough for people who date comedians.
Yeah,
because you think, "Oh, it'll be fun, won't it?" Because it'll just be a laugh. Like, I'll be laughing all the time dating a comedian. It'll be just like they probably only do like 1 gig a month and get paid 10 grand every time. And it's great. And then actually the reality is you're just being asked, is it all right to talk about your diarrhea in this? Because it really brings the holiday bit together if we talk about that. And that's 500 people in performances. It's a really great bit.
Absolutely, man.
But even like it's probably justifiable if it's in front of like a big crowd and it's like that's a legit thing. But I've done jokes about like family members and it's to like 6 people and it's not getting a laugh and I'm like, I'm just talking about my life here and it's just depressing and do you know what I mean?
It's harder when it's something personal that doesn't get a laugh.
Yeah.
And then not only you're not getting a laugh, but you've just told
thrown
a
your
bunch of
gran
people
under
something.
the bus.
Yeah, exactly. That you shouldn't really be doing. It's like ramifications for your personal life. Yeah. It's funny though because I do always say like, you know, if ever like I'm dating somebody or whatever and they're like, oh, like, you know, you don't use me for material, whatever. And I always say like it's a lot harder to get material when you think like just whatever you think you've done that's you're not that interesting that
mate, material. So true. And colleagues as well were always like that where I work. They're like, oh my god, you're going to use this in your set, aren't you? I'm going to use you getting me a pint in the set. What
you drop the tea bag and you're making a cup of tea. But ultimately the thing is if you end up going out with someone, like good chance there is like you know whatever happens, you know, is going to get spoken about. So in a way I suppose I'm a liar.
But how did you find that? Because you've done stuff like that about girlfriends.
Well, again, this is a weird thing now because I'm like literally
putting out the special
tonight, and I do have about a 10
exciting times, man.
I do have a 10-minute routine about my ex, and I've not really spoke to her. She's not seen it.
You don't name her in it or anything.
No, I don't.
So it could be another ex.
Yeah. She's credited though in the credits. Yeah.
She actually is.
She is.
Oh fuck!
But as what? As ex?
Ex-girlfriend. No, I did get a special thanks, but
nice. Because my ex is credited in mine as well.
Because I just feel like, you know, people that have helped you or, you know, been important to you over the years, it's nice to shout them out. But but generally I don't know, and I didn't know whether they messaged her already. She knew I was doing stuff about her, and I actually bumped into her at the Fringe last year. She was going to see Amy Gledhill, and I was like, oh, you should come and see the show because I'd like you to see it. It feels weird talking about you and you've not seen it.
Right.
But then she was a bit like, I don't know. And it would have been weird that day. I think by the time I got to film it, it was like, I think it'd been all right, more or less, for her to. And I kind of just said, oh, like the worst thing that I talk about is this. And it was like an argument I had about her not letting me wear earphones. And then she was like, I was right about that. Or, you know, like it was, so she was still.
Right, straight back in.
There's actually, I don't know, I suppose it must just be weird. But I mean, I'm not saying anything that's not true. And actually, I've tried really hard to, like, not, like, you know, to be really like put it on myself a bit. Yeah, I would try to be so misogynistic, and no, I try to be fair as much as I can and put stuff on me and all of that. And I think that, you know, ultimately it's about someone else, but ultimately, like, it's my job and it's part of the job's talking about your life and that was stuff that happened. So as well, but basically by now I will have found out. I imagine by now I'll have had a message. Like,
she'll be commenting. She'll be in the comments.
Fucking liar.
This is all bullshit.
Yeah, no, but no, I hope it doesn't hurt anyone's feelings, I suppose. But I guess maybe I'll find by now. By the time this goes out, I'll find out probably.
I do think that's something like the more you do it, you do realise that these jokes do affect other people and stuff, like, because I remember first starting out and just saying all this stuff and not being like, I can say it whatever I want, I'm a comedian, I can do the jokes about my mum or whatever. And now you're like, no, she will see it and it might hurt her feelings or whatever, and I think you're a bit more thoughtful about it. And
just in general as well, like just joking about things that don't really affect you, and then you go, do you know what, for the sake of like a punchline, it's no worth making a certain group of people feel a certain way or whatever, and so you just learn to do it in a way that either maybe you're the joke or just, like, you know, in a way that's it's worth it. You know, if you're joking about something that's, you know, a worthwhile target rather than just try to chuck it into the wall, because ultimately you're just worried about people not finding you funny, aren't you? So
that's as you grow as a comedian, because I was just, and still am to an extent, but like so worried about just people not finding me funny that you just, anything you cling into, just like I'll joke about this, I'll joke about that, whatever. I'll pretend this is my opinion. I'll pretend I'm this sort of person.
Yeah.
But then as you get more experience, you get better. You can actually talk about how things actually were instead of going on and be like, we've all seen those comics who are like, my ex is a bitch or whatever, and she's awful and so, and you're just like,
and you can check out my special
yeah.
on it.
That's the title, isn't it? My ex is a bitch. Mark Jennings, my ex is a bitch. Ironically, I'm actually a feminist. So
have you seen it? No.
So yeah, because you can just. I mean, I see those like when you have a gig with a comic and they're talking about, they got a routine about their wife or whatever, and you go up to them afterwards and you're like, oh, that was great. Like, you know, how long have you been together for? Oh no, we got divorced 10 years ago. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't want to do that. And because also I think the honest stuff is the most relatable stuff.
Aye.
So yeah, if you weren't to talk about your ex or just to pretend it was all good or like, it's just people don't relate to that stuff.
And they can tell there's an inner like authenticity, and it's like even if that joke goes well or whatever, there's just something that won't chime with people. People will be able to see through. If it's like a guy that got divorced 10 years ago and he's still talking about, like, there's just something not quite right about it, I think, you know?
It's amazing how there is that audience intuition, I feel. Like, they don't even realise it, but they genuinely, that's the thing they can really smell in authenticity. And that's the thing that sometimes you'll get a laugh, but it's like a whatever laugh. It's like, oh, they don't leave the club remembering what you talked about because it was just whatever. It wasn't like personal to you, or wasn't like really interesting. And I think that's fascinating because they're not like comedy nerds or whatever. They're just people, but there's just that inherent connection with people. And you see it when you see those great comics going on and talking about something really personal or specific, and like everyone's laughing. You're like, this is so good. You can make a joke out about anything.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you were saying at the start about this, the specificity is the key, isn't it? Because it's like, because some, like in that show I just done at the Fringe, I was a bit more personal than I normally am. And there was some jokes in it, not even like the main thing I was talking about, but there was some jokes that I'd done. And before I would be like, I'm not going to do that because it's not relatable to people, because not everybody has this certain set of circumstances that I have or live in a place like this or whatever. And with that show, I just thought, no, I'm just going to do that because actually I'll just be as specific about my experience as possible. And then, like, you tend to find that's what people do relate to, you know, or they at least understand where you're coming from.
Well, that's it. People always prefer, even if they disagree with you or they don't relate to what you've experienced, they'll prefer knowing who you actually are rather than you pretending to be them.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I remember when I started doing comedy, I was putting on this like South London accent, trying to be like Rob Beckett, almost like SEC, just because I was like, that's what people want to see. They don't want to see me. They don't want to see my accent.
That and your Island car glasses.
Spinning bow tie. Actually, me and my dad, it was similar to your Amazon shop. We were going and getting loads of props and crowns and stuff, and just trying it all on. I sometimes wonder when people come to my show from sketches, what they're going to see, especially the ones who haven't gone to stand up before, whether they think it's going to be like that, and they think I'm going to go on stage and be like, have you ever got a bus but you've not had enough money on your card but you don't want to get off? I think it would be a little bit something like this. Following on and play all the characters and shit.
Aye. But ultimately, I think, like, because Ed Knight was saying that to me recently, because him and Paddy do those sketches together, Paddy Young, and like he was saying that they kind of tried to kind of do something like that when they done their first show to like audience that bought tickets off of that, and then they just realised, oh no, if they'll just come and we just do stand up and it's good, and that's all you need to do. But like, I guess, I don't know, it's just so always try to find that balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I know, but I suppose you're doing a bit of both in your show, to be fair, like with the kind of...
What's going on with your show then? You were talking about going viral and stuff? Or
no, so it was like the conceit of the show. So it was a kind of sketch show / stand-up show, but the conceit was my agent is making me do a sketch show when I want to do a stand-up show. So, and I've got like videos that cuts away to like me playing my agent and me, and then...
But much like his kids, this agent is an entirely fictional character.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't give it away. Don't give away the ending, but it's a big M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end where it turns out that I am playing both characters.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I know. It's pretty clever.
Yeah. Problem is, everyone's walked out in 45 minutes. So you missed it. It ties the whole thing together.
I had fun doing it. It was a different experience, and I was kind of
It was
getting
a great
bored
show.
of
It
stand-up.
was a great show.
Thank you. I was getting bored of stand-up for a while, and I was like, I just want to do
Really?
something different. And
Bored of stand-up, but not doing the sketches. What's going on?
I'm just depressed.
Depressed, yeah. That's, you and everyone else in Scotland, that's all right. Yeah. You actually got depression?
No, I'm just a bit sad sometimes, but I don't think you can call it depression.
Yeah, that's a very modern, healthy take on that. No, I'm just sad. I'm just like crying and shit. Like, I just don't have energy to do things. It's not called depression.
Not depression.
It's called not drinking enough, mate.
Don't
Yeah,
put a
shit.
label on it.
Well, my show was about my mate who had severe depression that I lived with, and we were housemates
Why?
through the pandemic. Like, he was trigger warning, suicidal, and there was a lot of comedy to be mined out of that.
Yeah,
So.
sounds pretty funny.
It genuinely is. But it was wild. It was kind of scary, but it was kind of it was probably the best thing I've ever done in my life in terms of I've not done much for other people, and to just like he didn't really have any family and stuff, so it was just me and him.
Did you need to run that by him like you chappie's door? Say, do you mind if I run this by you? He's like, fucking hang themselves.
Yeah. You know, you don't even take in. You're sewing your own well. You don't even take in what they're doing. That's a bit weird. Anyway, do you think it's better hung or hanged? I'm not quite sure what the. Because I think hung could be a double meaning. I think in that.
Suppose if he goes through it, I don't need to run it by him.
Yeah, annoyingly, he didn't do it in the end. Otherwise, it would have been a much more lovely ending. You know, so it would have been not impactful.
Talk about an M Night Shyamalan twist.
I killed him. I just killed him off. That's what he would have wanted. He's actually doing great. It's really impressive to see someone go through that sort of thing, because I think it doesn't really get talked about in comedy, because comedy's such like a. Everyone's talking about mental health, but it is just such like a taxing thing. Like, you just got, especially now with the internet, you got to keep producing content, man. Everyone's like, "What's your advice?" You just got to keep doing it, do as many gigs and stuff. But it's not conducive to everyone's mentality. You know?
Yeah,
No.
It's tough.
yeah, it's never ending.
Yeah, it's a nice positive way.
Are you depressed or anything? You're
No,
right.
I'm sort of all right. I've actually got the opposite. I've got delusions of grandeur.
Right, yeah.
So
Narcissist.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh my god, you can tell. But that is really it. Like I have a problem in that I do really stupid stuff, and then I come away going, everyone thought that was probably pretty cool.
You're too happy.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I mean, I definitely. What was weird for me was when I became full time, I actually got more anxious. This year's been tougher than last year when I had a day job.
Yeah.
Because I remember like I was working 3-day weeks at my job last year. They were really supportive. I was there for like 7 years. They let me go down to 4-day weeks and 3-day weeks. They were supportive of the dream. And I remember when I handed in my notice, it was just like best feeling ever. I mean, I don't know how you guys felt. It was just like a day and a moment you've dreamed of for so long and actually living it. I mean, I don't know how many people will ever experience that truly. It was just incredible. Working out my notice, all fun, excited. As soon as I'd worked my last day, I was struggling to sleep because I was just thinking,
This is it now?
yeah, this is it. It has to work. I was like, maybe I was lucky, maybe I was fluky, maybe and you know, because the main income I was getting was actually from online stuff, and I was like, yeah, maybe I've just not got it anymore. Maybe I've used all my good ideas. I've fallen behind, you know, and also there's that thing of when you achieve a dream, what now?
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, and it's like, okay, I wanted to be a comedian all my life, but am I going to be the comedian I want to be, or am I just going to be driving around doing shite gigs for like 80 quid just to get by?
Absolutely.
And is that going to be my life?
Pretending that I'm still with a wife that I divorced 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
well, yeah,
Right?
but yeah, literally, yeah. Talking about how bitter the comics, these AI comics, are fucking not real. You know, we had to write our own jokes. and I just and that was really stressing me out. And I think that put pressure on the relationship as well, because I was also last year I fell in love with my ex. I fallen in love for the first time. That was the first time I've ever fallen in love and stuff like that. And then I was at a point in my life where like when I was with her, like I needed that to be awesome, because before, like I had a day job, and then anything outside of the day job was awesome because I'm not like the same way with holidays or whatever. And then when you do this full time, it's hard to enjoy holidays or breaks. You're always thinking, "There's more I could do. There's more I could do. There's more thing." And then comparison is the thief of joy. So you're looking at other people. You open your phone to do something. Oh, that's got 100 million likes. Oh, that's great for them. Really happy. And you look at your video, 2 likes. Bitcoin's still commenting there. Commenting back like, "Glad you enjoyed the video." So that all sort of fed into my brain, and my solution for that, I'm the opposite in that I get stressed or whatever, so I just been like, right, just throw yourself into work, just work as much as possible. But it just meant I burnt out. Like this is post breakup, I'm having that where I've said yes to everything. I've got so many gigs in a row and so much shite, and I'm just like, I actually need
just
the
to
break.
distract yourself.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I'm a bit like
that's why I'm doing this. I wouldn't do this otherwise.
I've been like kind of constant this entire year, and I'm just about to take a break, and I'm a bit fear that when I do, it'll all kind of hit me like, what the fuck is my what am I doing in my life? You know, all the stuff that I've been neglecting, because I'm just like, let's just keep gigging and keep putting the stuff out and the podcast rolling and all that, and you take a wee breather, and then you suddenly go, oh shit. You know,
it might have the opposite though. It might help you appreciate all the stuff you've done.
I think it will. Yeah, I think also it's good to just get a bit of perspective and just maybe figure out where you want to go, where you want to go next. Because it's like you say, when you achieve a dream, or you get a big goal ticked off, then you go. You need the time to go, right, what am I going to be working towards next? You know, you need to reanalyze and reset and stuff, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I always have that whenever I have those breaks, I come back and be like, I actually don't want to do that. And it's like, I want to focus on this stuff. This is what I'm really enjoying. I'm big in that. I'm like terrible for it. I like work hard, but don't work smart. Like other people are very good on like, I'm going to do this because that get me into there, and then I'm going to link up with this person because they can link me up with that person, blah, blah. I'm just like, just fucking do sketches and gigs, man. Like, what's the problem, bro? Just like put the wigs on and shut up, man. And I just feel like I'm always working, but then you might not be actually working like strategically as good as you
I think you need a bit of both, because you don't want to be too cynical, and ultimately, like you say, it's like you can look at all these analytics and how do you game the system on that, but at the end of the day, if you just put out good stuff, you know, you've got to have the faith that it will get seen, and
you've got to enjoy it as well, man. Anything you do, like I talk to some people, and they're like, I just don't get it because my stuff was not getting as much as it was, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, but you enjoy it, because if you're only doing it for likes and reach, if that's the only reason you're doing it, if you don't like doing your podcast, you don't like doing your stand-up, you don't like doing your sketches, then what's the point?
Yeah.
I remember I was listening to some comedian talking about it, and they were like, they love this band. I don't remember the band's name, but the band is like famous for just doing like long, ridiculous 45-minute guitar solos in the middle of their set, and they never play the same songs. They just whatever. And obviously that means they're not as popular as they could be. And they were interviewed about it, and I'm like, why don't you just like play your hits and just get bigger crowds? And they're like, you know, like in 2,000 years, no one's gonna care. So no one's gonna care about what we did here. So we've just got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
As much as possible, because that's the only thing that really matters.
Aye.
And in a way, like it's obviously not true. Fuck that. But it's in a way that is it. Like if you look back on all of it and you've had a good time, that's really the only thing that matters, man. Like I mean, I'm not changing the world. I'm not going to leave a lasting legacy that in 2,000 years' time people are going to talk about. Do you remember when he did that joke about how dating in your 20s was different to dating in your 30s? That's actually shaped a lot of Western civilization. So you just got to like...
Well, if you do want to see that joke, you can check out my special, which is out now.
Hey!
And if you are watching in 2,000 years' time, please do like and comment below. Let us know if Ali has made a lasting impression on the world.
The aliens and the robots just looking at some old relic. Some laugh. What is this? Just putting it on.
But listen, man, well, thank you very much for joining us. I think that about covers it. You mentioned your special, which is on YouTube, is it?
Yeah, free of charge. That's the only way people watch it. So it's called Best Friend Ever. Just look up Ali Woods on YouTube. It's all there. And I got a half-hour special as well. It's many thing anyway that I did as well. I recorded both in the same night because I had this extra material that I just didn't fit into the show, but was funny, like club stuff.
Amazing.
And I said quantity over quality. And I just I went and recorded that the same night at a different venue, which was really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was sick. So we literally like did Leicester Square, had a break in Leon, just got like some chips and stuff, and then all the camera crew, and then just went over to the next. And it was like 5 minutes down the road.
Amazing.
So I got those two as well. That second one's called The Afters. So if you want to check those out, you can check those out on YouTube, and then just check out my stuff online at Ali Wood's gigs and on everything.
You got a tour or anything coming up? No.
TBC.
Oh,
TBC in the
watch
works.
this
Check you out on
It's in
Comedy
the
Central
works.
Live when that comes out.
Oh
as well, I
yeah,
suppose,
yeah. Check that out. See what makes the cut.
You hearing this fucking chainsaw
Yeah.
outside?
We better wrap up before the
Oh,
fucking,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the chainsaw outside is.
Quite ominous.
Yeah, we've got a mass murderer in the area. It's just gonna go around. We suddenly need to sacrifice podcast guests every now and again. We've lured an Englishman here.
Well, it's worth the risk. Podcast shoot is expensive. They're just showing you around like it's got all you need. Mike does have a serial killer, but he's very friendly most of the time.
And the cost of living you got to take what you can get, you know. But no, listen, Ali, thank you so much for
Appreciate
joining
it.
Honestly,
us.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me. This has been great.
Has it been some laugh?
It's been some laugh. It's
Yeah.
been some
That,
laugh.
you say that as though that's what we ask people at the end of every episode. Like,
It's going to be a new thing.
did you enjoy some laugh?
If you had some laugh.
But if you've had some laugh, please remember to. I should actually say that. I don't know why I don't. If you've had some laugh, please remember to like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can follow us at Some Laugh Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And send any message you've got for us. No one ever does this, by the way. But you can do that by emailing us to the email address, which is somelaughpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. And I'll speak to you soon.